with the Wi-Fi rebellion crushed, peace was finally restored to Remno before the conflict could escalate with Sunkland. Despite the conspirators' crimes, Mia shocked everyone, or not, by asking Abel and Sion to spare their lives. While the others believed her compassion knew no bounds, Mia's true motive was much simpler. She liked her subscription to being alive, and feared that killing the culprits might somehow allow history to repeat itself. Although the crisis appeared resolved, one final obstacle remained. Acting on Mia's orders, Ludwig traveled to Remno's royal court to secure a full pardon for the revolutionaries. Faced with a furious king and hostile ministers, Tiona passionately defended Mia's actions, earning the support of the kingdom's greatest knight, Bernardo. With the court finally willing to listen, Ludwig prepared to make the argument that would determine the kingdom's future and bring Mia's miracle to its true conclusion. While Ludwig and Tiona were working overtime trying to persuade the reign authorities of Remno, the miracle maker, Mia herself, was also busy. Busy melting in a puddle on her bed. Of course, upon returning to Saint Noel, she promptly deflated from the exhausting journey and entered recovery mode, which involved doing a lot of nothing. Only after lounging in bed for 3 whole days did a thought of any significance occur to her. Oh, right. I should probably thank everyone for everything they did. I could get each of them a present, but that sounds like a lot of work. Maybe I should just host a victory party or something. It definitely wasn't because a party would involve sweets, and she was craving said sweets. That definitely wasn't it. It would be wrong to suspect that all the stress she endured had worn her out, and she felt a desperate need to reward herself with an epic sugar story. That's right. This is to show my appreciation. It's a thank you party. Definitely a thank you party. After establishing a convincing pretext, she began pondering her next problem. Hosting a victory party is fine and all, but it's going to be hard to figure out a good menu. Her pondering led her to her friend and fellow princess, Rania of Perugian agricultural country, whom she viewed as an expert in all things sweet. After listening to Mia recount her experiences in Remno, Rania first made it very clear that she was profoundly relieved to see her back safe and sound. Then she smiled. I think I might have the perfect thing. My, what is it? It is actually something our country recently developed. It is still sort of experimental, but we call it the Emperor Melon, and it is simply exquisite. More. Tell me more. It is the product of extensive selective breeding, aimed at maximizing its sugar content. It does have the downside of going bad really fast once it's mature, but when it's just ripe enough, that moment when you put it in your mouth and it melts into pure bliss is like a little taste of heaven. It's sweet enough to give candy a run for its money, but it's also got this fresh melon aroma that fills your nose, along with just enough sourness to balance it out. It is a gift of nature crossed with human ingenuity and condensed into melon form. Oh, splendid! That sounds absolutely splendid! Mia's expectations for this exquisite Perugian melon slammed into the roof, smashed through, and kept going up. But like I said, it is only good for a very short while. If your highness wishes to use it, it'll have to be eaten the same day it is brought in. I see. Which means once the date for the victory party is set, it can be moved. That doesn't sound like that much of a problem. She was only inviting a handful of close friends, so their attendance could be confirmed beforehand. Once they found a date everyone was okay with, it should be fine. The only potential problem lay not with the people, but the melon itself. In other words, oh, but If it's so good, I assume it must cost a fortune. By now, Mia had become a compulsive penny pincher, and she'd long since internalized the fact that delicious things were also expensive things. Oh, don't worry about that. Consider it a gift in celebration of your highness' safe return, Rania said with a gentle smile that must have seemed nigh unangelic to Mia. I'll tell my people it's for a tea party that's going to double as a showcase of our agricultural products. Their meeting left Mia in extremely high spirits, feeling like all her problems had been resolved. I can't wait to try that exquisite perugine melon. Just as she began entertaining fantasies of biting into a big, juicy slice of sugary delight, she received an invitation from Esmeralda to a tea party that was going to be attended by children of the Tree of the Four Dukes. To her teeth gnashing frustration, it was planned for the same day as her victory party. Gosh, what a terrible coincidence! As a political nod to perugine, Rania had been announced as the official host of the victory party, and Esmeralda was going to blow her top if she found out that Mia had turned down her invitation in favor of a party hosted by a princess from such a small country. At the same time, rescheduling was not an option. It'll be difficult to postpone the victory party because of that exquisite melon, and Esmeralda's probably going to refuse to change her tea's party's date out of sheer stubbornness. Mia's affection for Esmeralda fell by around 10 points. For some time, she groaned audibly as she pondered her options. Then it hit her. Oh, I know. Why don't I just change the premise? The purpose of the gathering can be to recognize Tiona's accomplishment and reward her efforts. She quickly ran over to her desk and dug through the piles of reports that were strewn hazardly across its surface. I'm pretty sure Ludwig sent me a letter about how Tiona did a really good job. She still felt some lingering animosity toward the girl, but she was willing to put that aside for the sake of her victory party. After all, it is the duty of rulers to confer appropriate reward on those who serve them as well. This is the kind of reasoning Esmeralda will have to accept. Yes! What a brilliant idea! So, Mia hummed happily as she penned a letter to Esmeralda, declining the invitation to her tea party. On the day of the victory party, a young girl made her way down the wide hallways of Saint Noel Academy. She was in her mid-teens, and her long, gorgeous hair accentuated the air of pomp and confidence that exuded from her. With a proud smile, she walked unimpeded by nearby students who quickly shuffled aside and waited for her to pass. In a school filled with nobility from neighboring nations, she nevertheless behaved like someone who both deserved and expected deference from her peers. Her belief in her superiority was unwavering, and she had the lineage to back it up. Esmeralda Etoile Greenman, the daughter of Duke Greenman, one of Tearmoon's 4 dukes, was born into wealth and power. The Etoile in her name, another word for star, was emblematic of her status. The 4 dukes were collectively referred to as the Etoiles, which was a reference to the middle name they all shared. Those who bore the stellar designation were all part of the emperor's lineage and were in line to inherit the throne. Being of imperial blood afforded them vast power that, until the empire's fall, arguably rivaled the actual royal families of smaller nations. It followed that Esmeralda would be a figure of significant prominence within the academy. With confident strides, she made her way to Angelita's abode, a salon often used to host tea parties. Inside, she found it sparsely occupied. The only people present were a young boy enjoying some black tea at a table in the middle of the room with his attendant at his side. Ha! If Deputies and Esmeralda arriving fashionably late to the scene. A toast, then, to the audacity of our fair Etoiline, who dares keep me waiting. We're not of equally stellar status. I'd hardly afford you the patience. The boy was Sophia's Etoile Blumen. Like Esmeralda, his father was one of the 4 dukes. At 16, he was her equal in both age and pedigree, and they often ran into each other at parties and the like. The frequency of their encounters did not translate to any form of friendship. Then again, this is the Claire de Lune. I suppose I can't really fault you for coming late to this particular gathering. The tea party they were currently attending was known as the Claire de Lune, first begun at Esmeralda's behest. It had been conceived as a recurring event where the empire's most prominent nobles would gather and, over tea and treats, reaffirm their mutual commitment to the glory of Tearmoon. Eligible participants had to be Etoilers or above. It was a party with only 4 invitees. 3 were children of the stellar dukes, Green Moon, Blue Moon, and Red Moon. The daughter of Duke Yellow Moon wasn't slated to enroll in the academy until the spring, and the final attendee was the princess, Mia Luna Tearmoon. This was the first instance of the gathering to which Mia was there to invite. So, the capricious Miss Red Moon and her chronic impunctuality notwithstanding, why is Her Highness still absent? You want to know why? Let me tell you why, Sophias. Princess Mia says she's not coming today. Just like that. Can you believe it? She's just not showing up to our party. Is that so? What lunacy has afflicted our dear princess then? Again, she ignored him, instead reaching for the little tea cakes on the table between them. She shoved them one into her mouth, then 2 more. After about a furious chewing, she gulped it all down, let out a deep sigh, and finally spoke. Lunacy is right. According to her, she can't come because she's going in person to thank that Rudabulgarn for whatever she did. Rudabulgarn? Oh, the outcome. Really? What in the moons could a country bumpkin like her have done to deserve personal recognition from the princess? Apparently, she made a name for herself in Remno. Something about acting as Princess Mia's proxy and going with some commoner, Ludwig, I think, to talk with the king. The diligent dispensing of reward and punishment for deeds done is of course necessary, but I can't say I appreciate the dismissive attitude toward us. I could perhaps understand if it had been a secret date with the Sunkland prince, or even a tea party with Miss Rafina, but... He picked up one of the pastries on the table and popped it into his mouth. He munched for a while, appreciating its flaky texture before smirking. It would appear that Her Highness is suggesting she can make do just fine without us. That she deemed the help of the 4 dukes unnecessary. We're not being taken very seriously, are we, my dear Esmeralda? He shot her with the kind of wicked grin often accompanied by hushed voices in shady taverns. Sadly, she had little taste for his attempt at villainy. Heck, she hadn't even been listening to begin with. I'd planned this tea party just for her, too. And after all the trouble I went to, what do I get in return? A no-show? She complained, making no attempt to reply to Sophia's statement. Unacceptable. This is absolutely unacceptable. Why? Princess Mia, why would you do this to me? She fumed, the fork in her hands shaking from how tightly she was gripping it. Okay. How about you put that fork down before you bend the thing? The stuff here all belongs to Miss Rafina. I'd rather not have to explain to her why we're mutilating her utensils." She kept fuming. He observed her for a few more seconds before letting out a sigh and rolling his eyes. For 300 years, the continent was blessed with peace and prosperity. This glorious era began with the emergence of great many heroes who would leave their mark in history. There was Sion Sunkland, who earned the name the Libra King for his virtuous reign, and his trusted retainer Kidwood. Offering guiding sermons of salvation to the populace was the Holy Lady Rafina Orca-Beluga, who dedicated her life to maintaining peace between nations. The Mianet, a mutual assistance network that spanned the entirety of the continent, was the brainchild of Forkroad & Co.'s head honcho, Chloe Forkroad. Whenever demonic cultists or large bandit brigades sought to sow chaos, Dionalaya would arrive on the scene, his sword offering a swift and deadly rebuke to their ways. And that wasn't all. There was also the hyper-competent Ludwig, who injected new vitality into Tearmoon through structural reform, along with the botanical innovator Cyril Rudelman, who developed a new strain of wheat before going on to discover a number of useful plant species. Still, Cyril's achievements wouldn't have been possible had he not studied under his sister Tiona Rudelman, whose early teachings equipped him with the knowledge to propel him into academia, and the list went on and on. Amidst this dazzling pantheon of stars, however, was a moon who shone brighter than them all. The Empress of the mighty Tearmoon Empire, Mia Luna Tearmoon. Known widely as the great wisdom of the Empire, and both adored and revered by all these great heroes, her documented accomplishments were nevertheless surprisingly few. Conspicuous was her absence in the credits of history. Rarely, if ever, did she take the stage herself, and yet, a well-known and frequently circulated morsel among historians was that, time and again, during the crucial moments when these peerless figures left their mark in the annals of legend, Empress Mia would, without a fail, be at their side. Despite the cloak of mystery surrounding her, she was incredibly popular with the people of Tearmoon, appearing in numerous tales of myths that were told and retold. The most beloved of these was, doubtlessly, the story of rescuing the prince, which recounted the time when her beloved prince had incurred the wrath of his kingly father. Hearing of her sweetheart's plight, Mia had raced to his rescue personally, and, in an exhilarating display of her passionate side, snatched him from his homeland and brought him back to Tearmoon with her. Afterwards, she'd wed the prince and formally welcomed him into the empire as her husband. At the time, this marriage drew the displeasure of much of the Tearmoon nobility. Why, they asked? Had she taken an ousted prince as consort? The arrangement, they argued, accomplished nothing for the empire. Her response was swift and merciless. She and her subjects fought the dissidents tooth and nail in the arena of wars until their victory was complete and absolute. Through their triumph, they let it be known that while Princess Mia would not use her power in tyranny, when it came to those she loved, her fiery passion knew no bounds. She would employ every ounce of her influence and intellect to blaze her own path. Her romances were great in degree, but not number, and the love that blossomed in her youth would bloom faithfully her whole life. The adoration she enjoyed was doubtlessly due in part to the unwavering devotion of hers, which was repaid after she became empress. Her husband faithfully supported her reign, as she ruled over Tearmoon. As the empire was restored to its former glory, the pair would be gifted with 8 children, greatly bolstering the longevity of the imperial lineage. Mia looked up from the pages of the old history book she held. 8 children? Sounds like a few too many. She was in the Saint Noel library, and she was supposed to be meeting Chloe. While waiting, however, a history book on the shelves had caught her eye. Curious, she took it down and flipped it open, only to discover a biographical account of the Empress of Tearmoon, Mia Luna Tearmoon. Normally, this would be reason for bewilderment, but Mia, seasoned veteran of temporarily incongruous books, barely batted an eye. After all, it wasn't her first encounter with such a thing. Oh, I guess this is just like that diary. Figuring it do for some casual reading, she idly thumbed through its contents, which eventually led to her previous comment. Seriously? 8? I really got down to business, didn't I? Holy moon, 8 kids? With Abel? Hey, Mia. What are you doing here? Ah! Her heart leapt into her throat. With nervous, jerky movements, she turned around to find Abel, who looked equally startled by her outburst. Abel, what are you doing here? I was just looking something up. What's that you got there? Reading something interesting? This is... Wait a minute. It suddenly occurred to her that she might not want to show the book to Abel. However, when she glanced down at it, something was different. The passage she just read was nowhere to be found. Huh, how odd. It was just here a minute ago. As she brought the book a little closer for examination, something began giving off a golden glow. Her eyes darted toward the source of the light to find words lifting themselves off the page. They floated upward before unraveling themselves like golden strings and melting away into the air. What was that? Mia? She quickly shook her head and blinked a few times before turning to Abel. Sorry, don't mind me, it's nothing. The account in the history book had disappeared. To Mia, it seemed like a sign that a nearly finalized future had once again changed course for the unknown. It seemed like a very blissful future too. But just like that, he was gone. It didn't upset her though. Instead, she shrugged. Oh well, I wasn't quite satisfied with that one anyway. After all, a future in which Abel couldn't return home and would never again see his family could hardly be said to be a perfectly happy future. And when it came to happiness, that just wasn't good enough. Greedily pursuing pleasure was her style. Mia had and always would subscribe to the philosophy of Mia first. No more compromises. I worked too hard to get that damn guillotine out of my life. I want a future that satisfies me, and I will settle for nothing less. The future remained uncertain, and no one yet knew where Mia's life would take her. One thing, however, would never change: her greed. She'd never met a compromise she liked. When it came to happiness, she wanted every last piece for herself and all those she held dear. This is the story of a slightly selfish princess who is given a second chance at life. She has sown the seeds of hope. What kind of future they grow into is still anyone's guess. This is it for this video. We will continue with the story of the Guillotine Princess. The sun had long since set, and darkness ruled the sky. Moonlight streamed through the window of an empty library, falling across the surface of a hefty wooden table. Resting atop it was a book, its last reader having forgotten to return it to its shelf. The culprit behind of this hideous violation of library norms was a rather familiar figure, since the neglected item was the history book that Mia had been reading earlier that day. All of a sudden, the book flipped open. There was no wind, but its pages turned steadily. It began to give off a faint golden glow. Lucent lines appeared, twisting into words. They settled on the page, forming new and ominous passages, recounting a dreadful history and the dark future to which it led, only for the text to start crumbling again before anyone could lay eyes on it. One by one, the glowing words unraveled and faded until only one line was left. It was the name of a young girl in whose veins flowed the blood of the great wisdom, the last princess of the Tearmoon Empire, Abel Luna Tearmoon. Like the last glimmer of hope at the bottom of the mythical box, it glowed and glowed as though fighting to survive. Then it, like its breather, unraveled and faded into the empty night. Time continued its steady march, marking the beginning of a new chapter.